Hi, this is Barry Tashian of Barry and Holly Tashian with John Broughton in Melbourne. This is Retrospectives on 3SER KC Radio. We'd like to help John celebrate his 20th year on air.
Hi, this is Holly Tashian of Barry and Holly Tashian. We're here with John Broughton on 3SER KC Radio, celebrating John's 20th year on air with Retrospectives. Congratulations, John.
I would rattle an old tin cup, but I'm not ready to go.
You described this album on the liner notes as a very groovy album. Is that something you devoted a lot of attention to focus on those rhythmic grooves?
Yes, absolutely. And one of the reasons that we called it, well, it's groovy because it's it's an old term from the 60s. But the thing that I love about music is that you can dance to it. And so we chose our musicians really based on their what I would call groove ability, and especially the drummer Kenny Malone is just such a master at setting a tempo and having it feel like something you want to dance to. So he was one of the key players on our album, and then we always use our bass player Ross Sermons, and he's just such a great rhythmic person. So and then of course Mike Compton is just fantastic with being able to play the mandolin in such a way that it just grabs you. It was very intentional, to answer your question about the grooves. We really wanted to get an album that felt like you can't sit down to it.
Yeah. And it was those specific musicians that were the key element to getting that feel.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah.
You cover a broad range of musical styles on the record, maybe more than any of your past records. Was that the intent also right from the start?
Well, what happened was we had all these songs that we'd written over the last, I think it's been about 3 or 4 years since we put out an album. And here comes Barry.
Oh, hi, Barry.
Hi, John.
This is John. He's talking about the different styles on our album, that we have a variety here, and I would say that probably the reason there's such a variety of styles is because we enjoy playing different types of music anyway, and when we write a song, we'll try any style that seems to work with the lyrics and the intent of the song. So if it feels like it should be a sort of a swingy song, then we're going to try a swing beat with it and see if that works. And sometimes we just write songs because they, like Rockin' Little Country Girl, we just wanted to do an out-and-out country song that you could dance to.
Yeah.
So yeah, we like different styles of music, and I guess that's what's reflected there.
It really does say a lot about the diversity of your music, and I guess American roots music in general, that you can achieve all those different styles on one record with similar instrumentation right through.
Exactly, and the reason why we used the same musicians through the whole album was basically that we wanted to make it a cohesive whole, because there's such diverse types of music. If we used the same musicians and recorded it live at the same time in the studio over a couple of days we were recording, then we thought we'd get a sound. And even though they're different types of styles, they'll still fit into the same sound. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. You recorded it live in the studio. Is that way you've generally recorded in the past, or is that your preferred way of recording?
Yes, that's how we do it. Some people put down, say, the drums and the bass and build the song up over, each time they go through it. But we get everybody in there together, and we just say, okay, we're playing, and he records it. And then we had to go back and fix a few vocals, and we also had to go back and add a few, like our mandolin player played on the track as mandolin and then came back and played fiddle. Matt Combs. He'd come back and play fiddle, and we'd leave a space in the music for him.
As always,
It's all live.
Yeah. As always, your great harmonies are shining through on the album. Do you have the both of you have a golden rule for good harmony singing?
Don't smoke.
Don't smoke. A good rule. There's a lot to that. You know, we teach harmony singing classes, and there's a whole. We could go on and on about how we do what we do, but I would say probably in a nutshell, you just got to be good friends with the person you're singing with. To kind of get a blend.
Yeah.
Feeling.
To tell us
a
about
cooperative thing.
Some of the musicians on the album and their backgrounds.
Barry, you want to answer that one?
Sure. Let's see. Well, starting with the percussionist, good old Kenny Malone. He's been around Nashville for a long time. He's played with everyone, including Ray Charles, we learned. And he was on all of the Don Williams records some years back, and probably a million other records. And he's just really a special kind of guy, because he doesn't just bang away at a drum set. He brings in many different types of drums, some conga drum, and he's got a special drum called a djembe, which is kind of like has a big head on it, about as big as the largest kind of bowl you could imagine, and then it goes down. It gets skinnier at the bottom, and he searches around through all these different instruments to find just the right thing for the song, and he really works hard at that. And we think he just found the perfect kind of percussive background for all of our songs. Anyway, he's great, and he's Mike Henderson, of course, is in the Steel Drivers, which now I think has the #1 record on the Bluegrass chart.
Oh, is that
right? They're up for a Grammy too.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, and we just, we love Mike's slide guitar playing, and so that's what we asked him to do. And he's an excellent blues player who has played with Mark Knopfler and among other people. And Mike Compton is a wonderful mandolinist from Mississippi who has been with the Nashville Bluegrass Band and various other combinations of bluegrass pickers, and he's just our favorite because he's so rhythmic. You can't beat Mike for rhythm. And he was also in the film "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
Ah, yeah.
Which I don't know how. Was that popular?
Very much so, yeah.
Yes, that the soggy bottom boys.
Soggy bottom boys.
One of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ross Sermons is a good friend of ours and plays bass with a lot of people, and we were lucky enough to get to know him about 5 years ago or more, and he's from North Carolina originally, and just a super guy, and he's always right on the spot and ready, and so we're glad to have all these people playing with us.
And then there's Matt Combs, who's a fiddle player and mandolin player, and he teaches over at Blair College of Music. He's excellent musician, just can play everything and anything, and he's the kind of the newest person in our circle, and we just met him just before we made the album. We were looking for a fiddle player, and we heard him play in a concert, and we just said, that's it, that's the guy.
I get the impression
he's the youngest one.
I get the impression there's a very tight musical community over there that you're involved in.
Yeah, it's a family.
Yeah, it is. Everybody knows everybody. And yeah.
Speaking of family, your son Daniel has a blossoming career in music as well, I believe.
He surely does. He's recording his next album for his band called the Silver Seas, and they have a record deal on what's the name of the album of the record?
Cheap Lullaby.
Lullaby. So they're going into their second album, and they're finishing it up right now. He's done very well. He's got a cut on Leanne Womack's album, the Call Me Crazy album, a song called The Bees. It's a wonderful song that he wrote. And he's had some commercial success with Kenmore Appliances on TV. And
That's a big washing machine manufacturer.
Yeah, I don't know if you have Kenmore's, but so he's doing very well.
And you have another son, Carl, who was involved in your record in another way, in the cover design.
Yeah, he's our computer person.
Must be great to have all this talent so close at hand.
Yeah, but they aren't cheap. We still have to pay for them.
So it's in the morning are you in Sydney?
Melbourne.
Or
in
Melbourne.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
It's still probably in the morning.
It is. Yeah, it's
late after.
It's 9:45.
Ah, so you're fresh.
Fresh, yep. Just had breakfast.
Oh, wow.
Great.
You've been giving people the option of purchasing this CD without the jewel case in the name of reducing plastic waste. How's the response been to that?
It's been very good. I'd say probably 80 to 90% of our orders are for no jewel case, because I think people probably have enough jewel cases already, so they can pop the CD and the insert and the tray card right into something they have already without. And it costs so much less to mail it, so we're reducing the price of our CD to, so people save too, and they like that. So
Yeah.
I think it's being very successful.
Everybody wins.
Yeah.
There's some nice covers on the
I'm
album.
trying to make this. Pardon?
I was just going to say there's some nice cover versions on the album. I particularly like your version of Doc Pomus's Boogie Woogie Country Girl. Tell us how that arrangement came together.
Oh, Boogie Woogie Country Girl. That's an old favorite of mine. I heard it when I was about 10 years old on a Atlantic Records 78 RPM on the flip side of Joe Turner's hit Corina Corina. And I just loved it. It's got some pretty fancy piano boogie playing on the record, but we didn't have a piano on this, so I tried to play some guitar that sort of imitated a boogie piano. I don't know how successful that was, but that's what I tried to do, and I just love the song. We didn't sing all the verses. We felt it was long enough with just a few verses, but Joe Turner sings a couple more, and we often finish our concerts with that song because it's a good higher energy song.
Yeah. Holly, you've got a couple of...
I had a...
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I had the honor of meeting Doc Pomus.
Oh, did you?
During the 80s in New York. Yeah. He was quite a guy.
Wrote some wonderful songs.
Yeah.
Holly, you have a couple of lead vocals, solo vocals on the album. One written by Barry, Worry Doesn't Worry Me. Was that specifically written for Holly to sing?
Well, we wrote that together. We wrote everything together.
No, actually, I was singing it for a while.
Worry Doesn't Worry Me. Yeah, we wrote it. We wrote it together, and it was intended for. Well, we didn't really have an intention for who was going to sing it, but it almost didn't make it to the album. And then I said, I'm going to sing it. Barry thought it wasn't quite a guy thing to sit down on the couch with a cup of tea. And I said, I can get behind that.
Very much so.
I do that all the time. I drink a lot of tea, and it really suited me. So I at the very last minute, I mean, this was like maybe 5 days before we were going to record.
Yeah.
We put it on the album, and I'm so glad we did.
I noticed
It's a really fun song.
I noticed on your songwriting credits here that you're both connected to two different publishers. Any particular story behind that?
Yes, in that Barry belongs to BMI, and I belong to ASCAP. So when we started our own publishing company, we each needed to be affiliated with our own performance rights organization. So Barry has a BMI publishing company, and I have an ASCAP publishing company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at what point after a new release like this do you start thinking about the next record?
Not now.
Not now.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Not yet.
I maybe never.
You don't even have a direction in mind where you'd like to go next time?
No.
No?
This has been such a huge job to launch this album, and we used to have a record company do all this for us.
Yeah, Rounder.
And now we put this album out all by ourselves, and it is just a huge job to put it all together, get it out to radio programmers and everything, and it's all over the world now.
Yeah.
It's just I've been saying to myself, this is it. This is the last time I'm going to do this.
Well, it really is a cottage industry, because first of all we wrote the songs, and then we recorded the songs, and we produced the recording, and we played on the songs, and we mixed the songs, and we oversaw the mastering of the record, and then we had the record manufactured, and we had the artwork done, and now we have to promote it. No rest for the weary.
No.
Has it left you with a different appreciation of the role of a record company?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. They really do a lot, and they have all the know-how to do it and so on, and I feel like a real neophyte about it. Even though we've been in the business for a long time, I had no idea how much work it would be to promote the album. And I'm not a real good self-promoter. I don't like to just go out there and toot my horn, and so it's difficult.
Yeah. Barry, I believe the Remains have been playing together again in recent times.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we get together, play the odd one-off. This coming April will be our next one in New Orleans at a thing called the Ponderosa Stomp.
Oh yes, yeah.
Which takes place between the 2 weekends that the world famous New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival takes place, and so we're looking forward to it down in New Orleans on the 27th or 28th of April, and we've got reissues of our old recordings from the 60s. The Sony company that owns them keeps putting them out every few years. They reissue one, and that's a good thing, because one of the songs was recently picked to be included in a hit motion picture by Judd Apatow called Superbad.
Ah yes, yeah.
I don't know. Have you had that in Australia?
Oh yes, it did very well down here.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to see maybe some performance royalties from APRA down there. I hope so, anyway.
Yeah.
And that was one of the Remains recordings from the '60s, and it happened to be a song I wrote, and that I also had the publishing rights to. So it's a nice little taste, as we call it.
Fantastic. Is it the original lineup back together?
It's the original lineup. That's right.
That's fantastic.
And as you may have heard, there's a documentary film that's been made about the Remains called America's Lost Band, dealing with our regional success in the mid '60s, and then our the fact that we broke up and we haven't been together until the 90s, and how well we're doing as friends, and how much fun we're having playing together, and I hope you get a chance to see the film someday.
Yeah. Now, I believe you will both be down here for a festival later on in the year.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so. We're scheduled to come to the Redlands Convention, Bluegrass Convention I think it's going to be the second weekend of July in Brisbane. I haven't got the exact dates yet, but I think that's what it is. And hopefully we're going to bring our bass player. I'm not sure of that either, but we hope so, and play some concerts around and
give some vocal
harmony classes and
workshops
and whatever.
Right. You've done that festival. You've done that festival once before in the past, haven't you?
We haven't done that one. We did Harriettville.
Oh, Harriettville.
Yeah, several years ago. Quite several.
Right. Is there
97? I think it was.
Was it 97?
Yeah. I think it was actually just.
We've only been to Australia once.
Yeah, I think it was just before the first time I spoke to you. I think it would have been late 90s. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any chance you'll extend that trip to other parts of the country, or is it just specifically for the convention?
We would love to. It's just a matter of whether or not we can, coordinate it all in the time. How much we can do and how much. It's expensive, of course, to travel around. So it's probably we would be able to stop in one other city.
Yeah.
We were thinking probably Sydney. Because we have our friend there, Gary Brown, who's been very, very helpful to us. So,
last time though we did play in Melbourne, and I wonder if this place is still open. It was called McCoppin's Pub.
McCoppin's, I think it's still standing, but I'm not sure whether they're still a live music venue though.
I
remember it was pretty crowded.
So,
and I remember one of the members of the audience had on a T-shirt with the Remains on the cover on the front of it.
So how do you like festivals and conventions in general? Are they a good opportunity to introduce your music to new fans?
They sure are. Yes, we make a lot of new friends at conventions and also at adult music camps where we sometimes teach. In the summer, taught at a number of them around the U.S. and in British Columbia and Canada, and last summer in Norway, and it's a lot of fun to meet and make friends with people and play and sing together. And with the internet, we can stay in touch, which is great.
Yeah. So
we are actually receiving a lot of orders for our new album from places like Norway and Denmark and Sweden, where our students came from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. The power of the internet.
Yes.
So apart from your trip down here to Australia, what else is in your schedule for 2009? I guess basically it's going to be promoting this album.
It is. We've got little things we're doing. Trip to Indiana, one to North Carolina.
Going out to the Northwest, to Oregon, and
maybe going to Ireland. We hope. We don't know, but we're trying to work on that for the fall. Just whatever comes up.
We know we're going to Florida in October.
Oh yeah.
So another busy year.
We're busy, but not overly busy. We have a lot going on at home and running our own publishing companies and so on. That takes up some time too. So we're not just the travelers we used to be.
Yeah. Well, it's fantastic to catch up with you again, and congratulations on the CD. Long story short, I guess for people here in Australia, the best way to get hold of a copy would be through your website.
I think that would be easy.
Yep,
We're
absolutely.
very good at sending things out. So, it's www.tashian, our last name, TASHIAN.com.
.com.
Tashian Music.
Well, you can do both.
Or either one.
Tashian.com
Yeah.
will get you there. Either one.
Well, I can heartily recommend
Well,
it.
it's fantastic. Thank you.
It's a
And thank you for playing it on your radio show, and thank you everybody for listening to it. And we just hope it does real well.
Enjoying it immensely. It's a toe tapping treat.
Yeah, it is toe tapping
It
treat.
is.
Yeah.
The Tashian Toe Tapper.
Yeah.
Okay, all the best,
That's what
and
we want.
we certainly hope that maybe when you're down here in July that you do get a chance to extend your trip and make your way down to Melbourne. We'd love to see you.
Well, we'd love to get back to Melbourne. It's a beautiful city. You know, it's a lovely place. And if we do, we'll certainly let you know.
Please do.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you, John.
Okay.
Thanks, Barry.
Great
Thanks,
to
Holly.
talk with you.
All the best.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay. Take care.
You
Bye.
too. Ta-da.